talk about this than you. Let's talk about the kind of dark side of fame.
Yes.
Will you start with Jimi Hendrix?
Yes. When Jimmy came with me, Sally, I met Jimi Hendrix. He was 18 years old. And really, I didn't know his name was Jimi Hendrix, because that's not the name he was using. He was using the name Maurice James, because he didn't want his dad, his mother was Indian and his dad is black, and he didn't want them to know he had ran away from home, see. And I had this big bus in Atlanta, Georgia. I was staying at the Royal Hotel on Auburn Avenue. And Red McAllister, we were staying there with him. And my guitar player named Glenn Willens went out and brought this guy, Jimi Hendrix. And he was just grinning. He was laughing a little too much for me. He called me the little upsetter. He didn't call me upsetter. He said upsetter. And he loved the way I looked. He loved my hair, because my hair was about that high. And it was mine, all of it. It all belonged to me, every bit of it. I bought it all. And so we had our little band around it. And so Jimmy came in, and he told me he wanted to play guitar. I said, oh, this guy don't play no guitar. I'm tired of people using me like that. He got on the stage and started playing the guitar with his teeth. And he could do a wah-wah without a wah-wah. He can use all those effects on it, and he didn't have any of it. He made all those sounds like that. And so at the time that Jimmy came with me, back in that period, see, I was getting high at that time. I was drinking and I was taking cocaine during that period. And he came with me, and but we never knew that he was going to be the star that he turned out to be. And he was a big asset to the Little Richards troupe. He traveled all over the world with us, and a lot of times you thought you was tearing down the house.
Yep. And
you found out it was Jimi Hendrix, you know. You hear the people just go, oh, oh! You said, oh boy, I got into him, looked back at Jimmy eating up the guitar. And you saw, oh, please, put him in the dark! Turn the lights out! And it was Jimi Hendrix.
When history is happening, we don't always know that it's happening. Tell me about the Beatles. Somebody said to you, this is going to be a good group. What'd you say?
Well, the Beatles, when I met the Beatles, didn't nobody know them but their mothers. So they brought me to Liverpool, and Brian Epstein, his dad owned a lot of record stores. So he said, I want you to meet a little singing group, and all of them have these bangs, looking kind of weird at the time. I was too, but I thought they were. And so they wanted to sing on my show. I said, okay, I don't mind you singing, because Billy Preston was my organist, and he was 14 years old at the time. And I said, okay, but one time to sing, they wanted to sing all of my songs. I said, no, they can't sing. They gonna sing Good Golly Miss Molly, Tutti Frutti, Keep a Knockin' and all. I said, no. And then they end up singing, love, love me do, you know I love you, so please love me do, you know. And they sang, and then Brian Epstein said, Richard said, if you take the tape back to America, I'll give you 50%. At the time was a record coming out of Chicago with Vivian and her brother called VJ Records. And they had recorded the song called Twist and Shout, the Beatles had. And so, and they hadn't had no hit at all. And I said, oh no, I didn't, because to me, Paul was real good and John was good, but the other part of the group to me was not. Ringo, they had just hired him. To me, he was not a fantastic drummer. Our singer, to me, he was a good guy. You know, but he wasn't a drummer that I would have hired.
You could have had 50% of the Beatles?
50% of the Beatles.
50%
yes, I
of
did.
The Beatles?
I, all the way down from the top to the tip.
Oh.
But at the time, I thought they was going nowhere. I didn't think nobody was going to keep them but their mamas. I didn't know that the papas was going to let them go too.
What about, how did you break out of the drug stuff? What happened? If I said the black side of fame, what made you do it in the first place, or don't we know? And what made you not do it, or don't we know?
What happened is, Sally, you know, after that, Mick Jagger came with me. And it was called the Rolling Stones. See, Mick Jagger started with me, and you know James Brown was my vocalist.
Yeah.
And what people don't know, James Brown used to go as Little Richard. He never told nobody. See, James Brown used to go under my name as me, and people thought he was me. And when they saw him, they said, because we didn't favor.
I would say not. I would say not.
I don't mean it wrong, but we don't favor, do we? No. Shut up. And so all these people started me. So when James said, I never knew James was going to be famous, because see, really be true, James Brown does Joe Tex. All that stuff you see James Brown doing, like throwing the microphone, that's Joe Tex, and nobody never give him credit. It's not, it's really Joe Tex. And Joe don't get the credit. Like Michael Jackson is Jackie Wilson. You understand me? People don't know.
Yeah.
He looks like me, but he is Jackie Wilson otherwise. You know? But I got into drugs because I was working Sally all the time. I would come to Madison Square Garden, and we would pack at 35,000 people, and I would leave there broke, and we had to sell our house. And I couldn't understand how I played all these dates and never make no money. I said, something is wrong. Somewhere, being from the country, I said, I ain't that crazy now. I said, we don't have no subway, but we do get paid sometime. You know? And so then I started drinking Cavassier. Then I started drinking whatever they had in the bottle. Then I started snorting cocaine. My nose was big enough to park diesel trucks. You know, and I started getting so high. Praise the Lord, I never had this stuff they call crack, because I was already cracky enough. And this stuff they smoking now, I'm just glad that the God of Abraham kept me from it.
Yeah. And your brother passed on from
Oh,
drugs.
yes, he did, Tony. And you know what's so strange? He was about 31 years old when he died. And you know, his son was just working for me not long ago, Sally, my brother's son. Did you know he died? What he 20, Danny? He died. He just died not long ago. He was 20 years old.
So your brother died
My brother
at 30?
died at 31. His son just died not long ago.
All from drugs?
No, somebody killed him in Los Angeles. They shot him down. We had just, you know, it's strange, you know.
But your father was shot?
My dad got shot too in Macon, Georgia.
So
one of
that
my
would
best
be
friends killed my daddy.
His grandfather. His grandfather was shot and he was shot?
My dad, yeah, that's right. My grandfather, which is my father, he got killed by my best friend in Macon, Georgia. Then my nephew just got shot. Then my brother died at a young age.
Sir.
Yes, I have several questions.
We get one?
Sure. Two fast ones. What do you remember best about Alan Freed, and why don't we see you in the doo-wop shows in New York?
I think Alan Freed was...
Do people know that Alan Freed...
I think Alan Freed is one of the greatest disc jockeys ever lived. Mm-hmm. He didn't care what color you was. He would play your record if it was good. He was a great, great person and a very handsome man, beautiful tan, very good man, not taking nothing away from Dick Clark or anybody else. They're great people, but Alan Freed is the greatest disc jockey ever lived to me from this area. He and Jimmy Bird and all of them, the great Hamp Swing, them top disc jockeys.
Why don't you do the doo-wop show?
Well, I didn't know how they walked me. I didn't know what they were going to do with that.
Take a break. We'll be right back.
I woke up this morning, Lucy was not in sight. I asked my friends about all that just was trying. Lucy, baby, satisfy my heart. I'm sleeping with you, baby. Gave me such a wonderful song.
Well, since I don't have no burritos or tacos, it's going to be hard for me to hold on.
It's going to be a little hard. Also, we haven't cleared that, so that's a problem.
Yes. You're the self-proclaimed king of rock and roll. I know that.
No, I proclaimed him.
Oh. And everybody says Elvis is the king of rock and roll. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
You know what? I believe this. I believe that to some people he is. I believe to some people I am.
Okay, wait.
But you know, really be truthful, that doesn't faze me now because I am the originator, I am the emancipator, I am the architect.
Sir.
Richard, are you disappointed that you're not making records today and all the money that's available today? Are you disappointed for monetary value today?
I think that, you know, if I was younger, I believe I would record more. I just finished a song with me and Tanya Tucker for MCA called She's Something Else and Clint Black. I believe it's going to be a very big record. It's being released today. The orders is huge. And because we do a lot of country music, too. Country music is one of my favorite music.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know, did you have an idol that kept you in the music business?
I didn't hear you, baby.
Did you have an idol that kept you in the music business?
Oh, yes, honey. In Ida's, back when I was, I knew Ida. yeah, my idol was Mahalia Jackson. And a name about just like Count Basie, you know, Ella Fitzgerald, and Louis Jordan, back at those type people. Ruth Brown.
Thank you.
Tell me about the makeup. When you were the first person to
Yes.
start wearing makeup.
Yes.
There was
One of
also a sociological reason for doing that, right?
Yes.
Why?
Well, in my hometown, Macon, Georgia, there was a guy by the name, he used to work at Frank Panier's Dewdrop Inn on LaSalle Street in New Orleans, and along with Patsy Vidalia. Billy Wright was my idol. He wore makeup and he wore pretty colors like I have on today, and I idolized them colors. But the reason I wore makeup, the complexion you see is my complexion, but I have a birthmark on my face. Which I would have never said, and I had a complex about it, and when I would wear the makeup, it would make it even with this and other parts, and that's when I started wearing makeup.
Also, wasn't there the feeling if you were all duded up, you wouldn't be a threat if you were trying to get white audiences?
Oh, you're talking about that part?
Yeah.
But yeah, with the makeup, the white guys wouldn't mind me working in the white clubs because they felt that if I looked feminine with the makeup, that I wouldn't bother the white girls, and they would say, "Oh, Richard, you can come in," but look at my band boy and says, "You waited right out there." But they'll let me in because the way I look, see, because by me having on mascara, they say, "Oh, Richard, he's a good boy." and they'll look at the freeze and say, "He ain't gonna do nothing." And they'll look at my brother, John, and say, "John is terrible, don't let him in."
First of all, I would like to say you look fantastic, man.
Thank you.
You look excellent. And then basically, right, are you going to be doing more films and TV shows? Because you are like a very multi-talented person.
Yes, I'm doing a new commercial right now for NBC for Sally, Jessy Raphael. I'm not lying. Sally didn't know, but I probably wasn't supposed to tell her, but I done told it now. And for her and for Jay Leno and for the other, Phil Donahue, I'm doing a commercial. So I will be doing other commercials. I have, they're getting ready to film my life story.
Who's playing you?
Well, they're working on it now.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
I can sing a spiritual, I can sing a gospel, I can sing a bluegrass song, or whatever song, and it reach you. That is soul.
That's right.
To the bone.
I found the comment I've been wanting so. Get me the girl we go round and round. We look real sharp with a white top down. Keep right on dreaming and I'm thinking to myself, when it all comes true, man, why? That's something else.
President Clinton, we're going to take a look at what that was like.
Ladies and gentlemen, Little Richard. Good darling, Miss Molly. So like the bone. Woo! Miss Molly. So like the bone. Oh, when you're rocking down the road, I keep it on my phone. And from the early morning to the early night, when I come Miss Molly rocking out the hot of blue light. Good darling, Miss Molly. Woo!
Richard, with all due respect, they don't have a lot of rhythm, do they?
Yes, little Richard, I would like to know, is there anything in your life that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
Honey, a whole lot of things people thought I did do and I didn't do.
What a perfect
And I was
answer.
charged for it. Now, what I would really like to do, I've always wanted to do, I would like to host somebody's show like for about 2 or 3 days or a week, something. Like when they go on hiatus, let me host it for 2 days. That's been my desire all my life. I would like to do that. And that's one thing I like to do before I leave here.
I know where we can find one. And you do Sesame Street? Do people know that they have
I
seen
just
you?
finished it, Little Rubber Duckly. I did Little Rubber Duckly, and he was really rubber.
Hi, I'd just like to make a comment to you. I did a lot of boogie woogieing in my day with your music, and I want to say to you, thanks for the memory.
Thank you, baby.